This is the first video for the Chapter 3 Cumulative Review. We have been working on this in class now, pushing about 2.5 weeks. So hopefully you have asked me questions during our warm-up time as we were working in class. But just in case, I want to make sure that you guys know how to work all of these problems, so I will be uploading videos periodically for each little section. So this is cumulative, so what you should notice is that these first three problems are just solving one-step equations, which was what we did the first week of school. So in order to review this, the opposite of adding 3 would be to subtract 3 from both sides, so that's what I'm doing first. That would cancel, and I would bring down my x, and I would find out that x would be equal to 40 minus 3, which is 37. Remember, you can always plug that in and check your work. If x was 37, 37 plus 3 is 40, so I know I did that right. Okay, so for number 2, the opposite of multiplying by 9 would be to divide both sides by 9. 9 divided by 9 would cancel, and I would find out that b would be equal to negative 72 divided by 9, which is negative 8. Remember, you can always plug in and check your work. 9 times negative 8 is negative 72, so I know I did that correctly. This last problem says that y is being divided by 7, and so the opposite of dividing by 7 would be to multiply both sides by 7. 7 over 7 would make 1y all by itself over there, and then you just need to multiply 21 by 7, and you get 147 for y. Okay? If you wanted to check that, if you do 147 divided by 7, you do get 21. So we know we did this correctly. Now these next couple of problems, they're starting to add on some steps. So notice here we have a 2-step problem. We have some combining like terms going on, and then we've got some extra steps over here as well. So let's go ahead and tackle number 4. So remember, you always want to start by moving your constant, so that's that number that's being added or subtracted. So the opposite of minus 5 would be to add 5 to both sides. That'll cancel, and I'm going to go ahead and bring down that negative 6x. I have to do 37 plus 5 in order to bring down a 42 on this side. Then the opposite of multiplying by negative 6 would be to divide both sides by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 makes x. And then 42 divided by negative 6 is negative 7, which would be my answer. Okay? All right, for number 5, notice that I have 17u and 4u on the same side of the equal sign. So if they're on the same side, the first thing I need to do is combine those like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and write 39 equals, and then I'm doing 17u minus 4u, which is 13u. Now I can go ahead and solve for u. So the opposite of multiplying by 13 would be to divide by 13, so I'm going to do that on both sides. And when I do 39 divided by 13, I find out that u must be equal to 3. Okay? Now, I still notice that people are struggling when they have a problem like this. So notice that z minus 1 is all over 3. So that means it's being divided by 3. And so in order to get z by itself, I need to get that 3 to the other side. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So that's my first step. 3 over 3 will cancel out, and I'll be left with z minus 1 equals, and then I just do 20 times 3, which is 60. Then from there, the opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So I add 1 to both sides, bring down my z, and I find out that z is equal to 61. Which is my answer. Okay? Don't forget, on all of these problems, you could always take the answer that you get and plug it back in for the variable and make sure that it works in the problem. So these next two problems are word problems. And a lot of these, if you just kind of use your common sense and work backwards, you can solve them without actually writing an equation. So let's talk through number 7. It says that it costs $513 for you and your 2 friends to go skiing for the weekend. They want to know how much does it cost for just you to go skiing for the weekend. So if you think about that, if it's $513 for you and 2 friends, that means that it was $513 for 3 people to go skiing. So in order to figure out how much for one, you would just divide 513 by 3, and you would find out that it would cost $171 for one person. Okay? So all I did there was take the total amount and divide it by the number of people that went. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one. So it says your 4-month bill for the gym comes to $221. That includes the cost per month of $50 plus a one-time membership fee. They want to know how much the membership fee would cost. Okay? So let's look at that again. We know that they have done 4 months. We also know the cost per month was $50. So I know that they paid $50 for 4 months. If I do 50 times 4, that amount only comes up to $200. Okay? So if that's $200, but it says that they paid $221, then that one-time membership fee has to be the difference. So if it was $221 is what you paid, you would just subtract the $200 that you know you paid for your monthly cost, and you would find out that membership fee is $21. Okay? All right, so that takes care of the first section, which we actually worked a lot of these in class a few weeks ago, but I just want to make sure that you guys know what you're doing. So if you have any questions, don't forget to come in for tutoring. Have a great night.